Welcome to Precision Riflecraft and my first ever tabletop review. I thought it'd be fun to do an episode on his and her pistols, so I have here my Sig Sauer P320 RX in 9mm, as well as Mrs. Riflecraft's Sig Sauer 1911-22 in 22LR. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that men ought to shoot centerfire pistols and women ought to shoot rimfires. Those are just our personal preferences. There are plenty of women who enjoy shooting full-power pistols. Case in point, here's a female instructor who prefers her 1911 in 45 ACP, as God and John Moses Browning intended. Before we go any further, let's verify that both these pistols are unloaded. Because we're in Canada, our pistols are always unloaded unless we're at the range and ready to shoot, but we're still going to follow best practices. I'm also going to set aside my Olight PL Mini 2 Lite, as that deserves an episode of its own. So with that out of the way, let's have a closer look at these two popular handguns, starting with the P320. Like other modern polymer-framed striker-fired pistols, most notably the Glocks that blaze that particular trail, this pistol has no manual safety, but it does have several internal safeties that disengage in sequence when the trigger is pulled. Now I know what some of you are thinking, how's that drop safety working out? What you might not know is that early Glocks had the exact same problem. They resolved it and the world moved on. I'm confident that this, the improved P320 that Sig now sells, is safe. If you have the original version of this pistol, Sig will upgrade it free of charge. Now, there have also been a number of highly publicized injuries resulting from unintended discharges occurring without the pistol being dropped as well. The common theme, it seems, is the improper use of holsters, such as a recent one where a Canadian special operator with JTF2 allegedly mismatched his issued P320 with a holster designed for the P226. Despite the teething pains of this, Sig's first striker-fired pistol, it is a clever piece of engineering. The most unique thing about it is its modularity. You see, with most pistols, the lower half, usually referred to as the frame, is the serialized part. Generally, only this is considered the firearm for regulatory purposes. With the P320, as well as its hammer-fired predecessor, the P250, not even that is regulated. What you and I are accustomed to calling a frame, Sig calls a grip module. The only regulated part here is the trigger assembly, which Sig calls the fire control unit, or FCU. This can be removed from the grip module without tools. The advantage to this design is that Sig can offer the grip module in 3 different sizes, enabling the user to achieve a perfect fit. Doing so is surprisingly affordable too. Here in Canada you can pick up a small or a large grip module for as little as $62 if the medium size that came with your pistol doesn't suit you. They also come in several colors. This modular design means that if your frame is damaged from, say, heavy use in competition, replacing it is a fraction of the cost of other more conventional pistols and doesn't involve any regulatory red tape. The other major aspect of Sig's design mandate of the P320 being a modular pistol is that it is a multi-caliber platform. Essentially, like an AR, the lower half provides the grip, magwell, and FCU, and the upper half houses the bolt face and barrel, thus defining its caliber. Sig makes 2 FCUs for the P320. If you bought, say, a 9mm like I did, you can get a slide assembly in 40 Smith & Wesson or even 357 Sig, as all 3 of those chamberings utilize the same FCU. You can also get different optics if you like, so switching optics or calibers takes only a few seconds and doesn't require any additional paperwork. You can also get slide assemblies in 45 ACP, but that requires a separate serialized FCU that's incompatible with the other 3 chamberings I mentioned. As you saw a minute ago, separating the slide from the frame is very easy, much easier than a Glock. My wife has no difficulty removing the slide, but she was unable to do so with the Glock 17 I used to own. Once separated, the guide rod and recoil spring assembly pop right out, as does the barrel for cleaning and lubricating. There isn't much to say about reliability here. Using cheap Blazer brass 124 grain full metal jackets, this pistol has been 100% reliable. After close to 2,000 rounds of mostly the Blazer FMJs, I haven't had a single issue of any kind, and I've only cleaned it once in that time. Even when it was caked in carbon and had no lubrication remaining, my P320 ran flawlessly. Now let's move on to this, the wonderful RX variant. The P320 RX includes Sig's superb Romeo 1 red dot optic, as well as their suppressor-height tritium night sights, all of which are mounted at the factory. Even if you live in a jurisdiction like Canada, where draconian laws render safety-enhancing noise moderators off-limits to you, there is still a major advantage to tall iron sights designed to see over suppressors. Thanks to this little channel in the Romeo 1, the irons co-witness with a red dot. That means that you can see the iron sights through the optic, allowing you to aim with either. If your optic ever fails, you can immediately switch to good old irons. If you have a pistol that's set up like this, I therefore recommend training with both. The red dot is fantastic, but iron sights are still there for a reason. These particular iron sights that Sig provides on the P320 RX, as you can see, are night sights with 3 tiny glass vials containing tritium gas, a safe radioisotope of hydrogen. As tritium radioactively decays into helium-3, it emits electrons which strike a phosphorus coating, causing it to emit green light. Tritium has a half-life of 12 years, meaning that these sights will glow half as bright in 12 years as they did when they were manufactured. Most users therefore replace them every decade or so. A replacement set costs about $180 here in Canada, just $18 a year if you replace them every 10. But enough about iron sights. Let's talk about the Romeo 1 red dot sight. I absolutely love this optic. The main benefit of a red dot optic is that it enables you to shoot with both eyes open and focus your vision on your target. When shooting with iron sights, on the other hand, you have to close one eye to avoid seeing double the rear sight, then focus on the front sight, not the target. Needless to say, there's no tactical benefit to closing one eye and focusing the other on your pistol instead of your target. Red dots take some getting used to, but as John Correa, an internationally renowned pistol instructor, says, the juice is worth the squeeze. The red dot of this Romeo 1 is 3 MOA in size, though Sig also makes a 6 MOA version. In my opinion, 3 MOA is perfect. You can adjust its brightness, and the optic remembers the brightness you last set, so you don't have to adjust it every time you turn it on. At 3 MOA in size, it's small enough to take accurate shots at distance, especially when its brightness is turned down a bit, slightly decreasing its apparent size. Here I am hitting a man-sized target at 100 meters or 328 feet. But wait, there's more. The Romeo 1 is motion activated. If you simply put it away switched on, it turns itself off after 2 minutes, then immediately comes on the moment you pick it up. This makes it ideal for defensive rifles and shotguns, for example at hunting camps where apex predators roam. Finally, its battery compartment is accessible without removing the optic and losing your zero. This may seem like a no-brainer, and it is, but there are much more expensive pistol optics that actually require removal for a simple battery swap. I also like that Sig includes this handy little tool for zeroing the Romeo 1 and also opening the battery compartment without marring the aluminum thanks to the softer plastic end. The pistol came with 2 magazines that hold 10 rounds apiece due to Canadian regulations, despite having been designed for 17. Believe it or not, I got this P320 RX on sale a while back for only $963 Canadian with tax and shipping. Nowadays they go for about $1,200 before tax, which is still great value for money, in my opinion. I absolutely love this pistol, and it's a big step up from the Glock 17 it replaced. I highly recommend it if you want a reliable, affordable, and modular full-size pistol with all the bells and whistles. If you have any questions about the Sig P320, post them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. I'll see you next time for a close look at Mrs. Riflecraft's Sig 1911-22 in 22LR.